Hello, and welcome to another edition of Ask the Professor, where we answer your questions about economics, about history, about government incompetence, about culture, about everything that contributes to our life together in the community.
All right, let's talk money. Today is budget day in Ottawa at the federal level, and here's two questions in one from Andre. He says and you'll like this one, he keeps hearing various elected representatives and politicians using the term invest instead of either borrow or just plain old spend. And he says, when I go shopping with my credit card buying something, I'm not saying, here, let me invest in a new pair of shoes. He's actually spending money on a pair of shoes. What is this business of investing instead of spending?
Essentially, it's just a smokescreen, actually. Andrew Coyne, as he so often does, nailed this one years ago when he said from now on, in order to make it sound better, we're going to call spending investment, no matter how foolish it is, and reserve for particularly spectacular and expensive examples of folly, strategic investment. But there is a little more to it than that, because what governments are trying to get you to believe, and what to a large measure I think they do believe themselves, is that when they are spending money, they're actually creating the infrastructure of prosperity. I mean, there was a time when infrastructure meant roads and bridges and actual physical, tangible assets that were useful, provided they were built in the right place in the right way, because they helped goods and services move around. A legitimate government function. But then they got into the idea, and the Harper Tories were very guilty on this one, of social architecture. That is essentially social engineering. Well, you don't want to use that discredited phrase, but where if they subsidized Acadian festivals or all kinds of touchy-feely things that were not the job of government, it would somehow make the society work better, and that would foster entrepreneurship and confidence and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's typical fatuous government arrogance. But at this point, it's not just a smokescreen. It's actually a harmful illusion, because there's a saying that works really well in your personal finances, that rich people buy assets and poor people buy liabilities. There are some things you buy that you really could legitimately call an investment, and frankly, I'm going to call Andre's shoes an investment, because you put down some money now and then you get around doing things that actually give you more value than the price. That is actually investment. The problem is when you buy something you can't afford on the installment plan and it starts to suck your bank account dry. And the problem with government investments is that they almost invariably have that quality, with the added twist that instead of sucking their bank account dry, in the end, they suck our bank account dry.
And that of our children. And this is the second part of his question. He says the current federal finance minister performed his pre-budget shoe shtick in front of a group of children, the ones that will be on hook for all these investments. Do you have any comment about that?
Yeah, it's just disgraceful manipulation. The budget should be presented in Parliament to MPs, a lot of whom frankly look to me like children these days anyway. All this idiotic feel-goodery. The budget's meant to be an accounting statement, a cold, rational assessment of what the government's planning to spend in the coming year, what it's planning to spend it on, and some relatively sober rhetoric about why, instead of endless hoo-ha about how we're going to make your life wonderful. And it's meant to be a description of where they hope to get the money and what they're going to do if it doesn't come in the quantities envisaged. And apparently the Liberals have fudged that one badly. They've just got lots of extra economic growth that nobody can explain. So right away we're back into the land of smoke and mirrors, instead of into a sober and responsible accounting document suitable for adults. And in a way, the fact that it's not suitable for adults explains exactly why it's done in front of children.
All right. So you're not a fan then. Okay. Thanks for that. Folks, the URL on your screen will take you to a page where it explains how you can get in on the game and ask your questions of the professor. Thank you, and see you next time.